Blue Jays Nation, let me ask you this, and I want you to really feel the weight of it. Are we seriously expected to believe that after 7 seasons of watching Bichette electrify the city, after seeing him grow into one of the most dynamic shortstops in baseball, that his camp is now playing hardball with a $300 million price tag while simultaneously flirting with the Philadelphia Phillies? Is this a negotiation tactic, a genuine exploration, or a calculated move designed to twist the knife just a little deeper into the hearts of every single one of us who has cheered for him? The audacity, the sheer nerve of this situation is enough to make you question everything you thought you knew about loyalty and market value in modern baseball. Just when we thought the offseason drama couldn't get any more intense, just when we were grappling with the either slash or dilemma of Bichette or Kyle Tucker, a new, even more jarring layer has been peeled back. The whispers have turned into shouts, and the speculation has solidified into concrete reports that paint a picture of a player and his representatives pushing the boundaries of what was previously considered a reasonable ask. The initial reports of Bichette trending away from Toronto were painful enough, but now the New York Post's Jon Heyman, a man with his finger firmly on the pulse of MLB's inner workings, has dropped a bombshell that changes the entire dynamic. Not only is Bichette scheduled for a meeting with the Philadelphia Phillies on Monday, a direct, undeniable engagement with a legitimate contender, but Heyman also reports that our beloved shortstop is seeking upwards of a staggering $300 million on his next contract. Let that number reverberate for a moment. $300 million. It's a figure that commands attention, a figure that redefines the conversation, and a figure that, for many, will undoubtedly raise eyebrows and spark heated debate about his true market value and the Blue Jays' capacity to meet such a demand. This isn't just about a player seeking a fair deal. This feels like a declaration, a line in the sand drawn with a price tag that puts him in the elite echelon of baseball's highest earners. While Bichette's talent is undeniable, a lifetime .294 hitter with 111 home runs and an .806 OPS, tied for second in the majors with 181 hits last season despite injuries, the $300 million figure immediately forces a re-evaluation of the entire situation. Is this a realistic demand or a strategic maneuver to gauge the absolute ceiling of his market? The fact that this news, coupled with the Phillies meeting, has leaked before the meeting even takes place, strongly suggests a calculated effort by Bichette's camp to ignite a bidding war, to inflate his perceived value, and to pressure potential suitors, including the Blue Jays, into making an offer that might stretch their financial limits to the breaking point. It's a high-stakes game of poker, and the Blue Jays, along with other interested parties like the Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, and Los Angeles Dodgers, are now holding their cards under immense pressure. The emotional toll on the fan base is palpable. We've watched Bo grow from a promising prospect into a 2-time All-Star, a player whose passion and intensity are infectious. The thought of him leaving, especially under these circumstances, is a bitter pill to swallow. And the idea of him potentially donning a Phillies uniform, a team that already boasts an all-star shortstop in Tree Turner, adds another layer of complexity and, dare I say, absurdity to the situation. The Athletic's suggestion that the Phillies might consider Bichette as a replacement for Alec Bohm at third base, or even at second base where Bryson Stott currently resides, highlights the desperate lengths teams might go to acquire a talent like his. But it also underscores the positional gymnastics that would be required, raising questions about fit and optimal deployment. This isn't just about money. It's about fit, strategy, and the emotional connection between a player and a city. And right now, that connection feels more tenuous than ever, hanging precariously in the balance as the $300 million question looms large over the entire offseason. Let's cut through the noise and dissect the strategic implications of this $300 million demand and the very public flirtation with the Philadelphia Phillies. Jon Heyman's report isn't just a casual update, it's a seismic shift in the negotiation landscape. When a player's camp leaks a figure of that magnitude, especially alongside news of a meeting with another high-profile team, it's not merely an opening bid, it's a statement. It's a clear signal that Bichette and his agent believe he belongs in the upper echelon of baseball's highest-paid stars, alongside the likes of Tree Turner, Francisco Lindor, and Corey Seager. And while Bichette's talent is undeniable, his consistent production, his leadership on the field, and his relatively young age at 27, the $300 million figure immediately forces every interested team, including our Blue Jays, to reevaluate their entire financial strategy. The timing of this leak, just days before the scheduled virtual meeting with the Phillies on Monday, January 12th, is no coincidence. This is a classic high-leverage negotiation tactic. By publicly attaching a colossal price tag and simultaneously showcasing active interest from a legitimate World Series contender, Bichette's camp is attempting to create a bidding frenzy. They want to drive up the market to pressure teams into making offers that might exceed their initial comfort zones. It's a masterclass in market manipulation designed to maximize the player's earnings, but it also puts immense pressure on the Blue Jays, who have already committed significant resources to the likes of Kazuma Okamoto and are now facing an either/or scenario with Kyle Tucker. The question isn't just, can the Blue Jays afford $300 million, but should they, given their other strategic objectives and the potential impact on future roster flexibility? And let's talk about the Phillies angle because it's absolutely fascinating and, frankly, a little perplexing. The Phillies already have Tree Turner, an all-star shortstop, signed to a massive long-term deal. So, the idea of Bichette joining them immediately raises questions about positional fit. The athletic suggestion of Bichette replacing Alec Bohm at third base is intriguing, but it also feels like a square peg in a round hole. While Bichette is an elite athlete, his arm strength and defensive profile are arguably better suited for second base, where the Phillies currently have Bryson Stott. Moving Bichette to third or second would be a significant positional change for a player who has primarily excelled at shortstop throughout his career. This isn't just about finding a spot for a star, it's about optimizing his defensive value, and a forced positional change could potentially diminish his overall impact. This complexity further suggests that the Phillies meeting might be as much about driving up Bichette's market as it is about a genuine, seamless fit. It's a strategic play, a demonstration of interest from a deep-pocketed team designed to make other suitors sweat. The Blue Jays, meanwhile, are left in a precarious position. If Bichette were to return, the internal roster implications are clear. He would slot in at either shortstop or second base, with Andrés Giménez taking the other middle infield spot, and 2025 standout Ernie Clement relegated to a super utility role. This would undoubtedly create a formidable defensive and offensive middle infield. However, the $300 million question looms large. Is that the best allocation of resources, especially when considering other top position players still available, such as Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman? If the Blue Jays decide that $300 million for Bichette is simply too rich, or that the long-term commitment carries too much risk, then their focus will undoubtedly pivot even more sharply towards Tucker. As we discussed previously, Tucker represents a different kind of value, a World Series champion outfielder with elite skills, and a potentially more palatable long-term deal, especially given the Blue Jays' demonstrated willingness to sign such contracts. The fact that news of this meeting and the contract demand leaked before it even took place is the ultimate climax of this negotiation drama. It's a power play, a calculated chess move designed to force the Blue Jays' hand and to extract the maximum possible value from the market. The Blue Jays now face a monumental decision. Meet the astronomical demand for a beloved homegrown star, or pivot decisively towards another elite talent who might offer a different, perhaps more strategically sound, path to a World Series title. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the pressure on the front office is immense. So, as the dust begins to settle, or rather, as the storm intensifies around Bo Bichette's future, the picture becomes increasingly clear, albeit painfully so for many. The $300 million demand, coupled with the active pursuit by the Philadelphia Phillies, paints a stark reality. Bo Bichette is operating from a position of immense leverage, and he's not afraid to use it. While his talent is undeniable, a two-time All-Star, a consistent hit machine, and a player who leaves everything on the field, the sheer magnitude of his asking price forces the Blue Jays, and indeed any interested team, to perform a rigorous cost-benefit analysis. Is that investment the absolute best way to build a World Series contender, especially when other elite talents like Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman are still on the board? The emotional connection to Bichette is deep. We've watched him grow, celebrated his triumphs, and agonized over his injuries. The thought of him leaving, especially to a team like the Phillies, is a gut punch. But in the cold, hard world of professional sports, sentiment often takes a backseat to strategic financial decisions and the pursuit of a championship. The Blue Jays have already demonstrated a willingness to spend big, as evidenced by the Kazuma Okamoto signing, but every dollar spent on one player is a dollar not available for another. This is the delicate balance the front office must strike. If the $300 million figure for Bichette proves to be insurmountable, or if the long-term risk associated with such a massive contract is deemed too high, then the pivot to Kyle Tucker becomes not just a possibility, but an absolute necessity. Tucker, a World Series champion, offers a different, yet equally compelling, path to success. His proven track record in high-pressure situations, his elite offensive and defensive skills, and his championship pedigree could be precisely what the Blue Jays need to get over that final hump. While losing Bichette would undoubtedly sting, acquiring a player of Tucker's caliber would soften the blow considerably and keep the Blue Jays firmly in the conversation as legitimate World Series contenders. The Blue Jays know they cannot afford to miss out on both of these generational talents. The strategic imperative is to secure one of them, and if Bichette's demands push him out of Toronto's reach, then Tucker becomes the undisputed priority. This isn't about replacing like for like, it's about optimizing the roster for championship success, even if it means making incredibly difficult, emotionally charged decisions. This offseason has been a masterclass in high-stakes drama, a testament to the intricate dance between player value, team strategy, and market dynamics. From the initial optimism of a dual superstar acquisition to the strategic pivot forced by the Okamoto signing, and now the potential farewell to a beloved star amidst a staggering contract demand, the Blue Jays' journey is far from over. The front office is navigating a minefield of decisions, each with massive implications for the team's future. The ultimate goal remains clear: to bring a World Series title back to Toronto. And whether that journey continues with Bichette or pivots decisively to Kyle Tucker, the commitment to winning remains unwavering. So, Blue Jays Nation, I want to hear from you. Given this new information, the $300 million demand, and the Phillies meeting, how do you feel about Bichette's future with the team? Do you think the Blue Jays should meet his price, or is it time to pivot fully to Kyle Tucker? What's your gut feeling about how this all plays out? Let me know your thoughts, your frustrations, and your hopes in the comment section below. And if you're as invested in this Blue Jays saga as I am, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all the latest breaking news and in-depth analysis. Let's keep this conversation going, because this offseason is shaping up to be one for the history books.